It's on this day, February 16, 2009, as me and my family entered the National Archive of Canada. It was a very inspiring moment for us to be given the honor to do a portrait that will stay in the National Archive for many years. This event was meant to show that immigrants can be very successful as well, so that is why us and 16 more families from Halifax and Ottawa were chosen to show that why moving to Canada was the best choice of their lives.
Très opportun d'inaugurer cette exposition communautaire lors du jour de la famille. This is a day, family day, when we can reflect on not just what it means to be a family, but today on what it means to be a family when indeed some parts of your family may still be living half a world away. This is an especially meaningful moment for me because I too am a first-generation immigrant. My parents immigrated to Canada after the Second World War, and they came. They had no English, they had no French, and they had no money. But they did have hope. And it wasn't hope for themselves. It was hope for their children, for their families. I think we'll find tonight and today that our families, our 17 families, are expressing the same enduring hope. Nos familles maintenant, les familles qui ont choisi de participer avec nous, eux aussi, ils expriment leur espoir par rapport à leur famille et leur futur. It will be my pleasure to introduce our distinguished speakers, and I would like you to join me in welcoming our first speaker, Librarian and Archivist of Canada, Ian E. Wilson. Bibliothécaire et archiviste du Canada, Ian E. Wilson.
Tout le monde, de la part de notre ministre, l'honorable James Moore, et tous les employés du Bibliothèque et Archives Canada, et aussi tous les employés du Musée des Portraits, ça me fait grand plaisir de vous accueillir ici cet après-midi. Welcome. Delighted to see you here. Delighted to have you participate in this important event. A self-portrait attempts to answer the question, who am I? How do I see myself and how do I wish to be seen by others? When the subject of that self-portrait is the family, and the families are newcomers to Canada, these questions take on an even greater weight. Because we are drawn not only to the dynamic of a particular family, we are brought face to face with the broader issues of identity and of culture. C'est cet espoir qui est ressenti dans les portraits que vous voyez ici aujourd'hui et qui m'affecte personnellement en tant que bibliothécaire et archiviste du Canada. And I think they'll touch many, many Canadians. As Lily Colton just mentioned, many of us are also children of immigrants, recent immigrants. Someone commented that the definition of a Canadian is an immigrant with seniority. And if one is looking for the common experience of many Canadians, apart from the First Nations, but many Canadians, it is the immigration process and story. I think many of the families here have gone through that process. The first generation, the second, whether one arrived 400 years ago, 40 years ago, or 4 years ago, it is a shared experience, I think, for many Canadians and their families. And that immigration story is passed down. There's one thing we have found in both portraiture but also in oral history programs, is many families retain the story of the immigration process and what it meant and how things shifted from the first generation, the second, the third, and the fourth. And I invite all of you to participate in this continuing process as Canada continues to develop and attract people from around the world who hope for, who look for a society that is based on peace, order, and good government. From a place of peace and stillness, a freedom we often take for granted, these families have used their creativity to tell the stories of great journeys and dreams, of obsessions and unique observations about the country they now call home. What we take away from these personal narratives will change us forever as we contemplate our own place in the world. Now we are seen as Canadians. How do we understand identity? Comme bibliothécaire et archiviste du Canada, je suis particulièrement intéressé à la question d'identité. Nous sommes les gardiens de la mémoire collective du Canada, mais ce sont les mémoires des individus qui aident à expliquer les faits, l'histoire et le passage du temps. À travers les expositions virtuelles et régionales et la numérisation de plus de 1,7 million d'images par année, nous rendons toutes les collections accessibles à un plus grand nombre de Canadiens et Canadiennes. Notre site web est utilisé dans toutes les salles de classe partout au pays. We're finishing up a project right now on identity, project naming, with Nunavut, where we have many thousands of photographs in our collection showing people, but simply no names. So we invited the high schools and the elders in Nunavut to help us. We're also working on the residential schools issue. We have the documentation about what happened to individuals from our First Nations who were taken from home and put into residential schools hundreds of kilometers away. And I invite you while you're here to take a few minutes to go out down and to the left, the corridor near the front of the building to the left. There's another portrait exhibit up right now dealing with the residential school experience. One of the areas where we must remember with truth and honesty as to just what Canada did. But the 17 new Canadian families have shared their hopes and memories with us today in today's community exhibition. These faces are the ones whose portraits are still unfolding, whose futures lie before them in a new land. As we celebrate Family Day with the launch of this community exhibition, we are reminded of what families can achieve, and here I'm talking not only about individual families, but the broader family of the community itself. Community partnerships are an important way for us to reach out to all of Canada, wherever they live, whatever their background. It is through community partnerships such as this one between the Portrait Gallery of Canada, the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia, the Ottawa Community Immigration Services Organization, the Metropolitan Immigrant Settlement Association of Halifax, the Coalition of New Canadians for Arts and Culture, and the Community Arts Program at the City of Ottawa, that we have been able to undertake this amazing collaboration. J'aimerais remercier tous ici présents qui ont contribué à l'exposition qu'on dévoile aujourd'hui. C'est vraiment un effort de groupe. It's a great group effort. Thank you all very much. Enjoy the exhibition.
All the way to Ottawa to get a family holiday. And what a wonderful welcome we've had. This has been wonderful, and seeing all of you here today is just so excited. For Enrique Ferreira, who's with me, who is the artist who worked with the families at the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia. So thank you for welcoming us so joyously today with the sun and everything. It's great, and all your smiling faces. Thanks. Now I have more to say, but you want to say anything?
Sure. I feel like it's an Oscar presentation where we get to play off each other. For those of you who were not at these workshops, I'd like to set a scene for you. It's a Saturday in October, it's rainy, and families have gathered at the workshops, and we have grandparents, we have mothers and fathers, we have teenagers, we have babies in arms, and very energetic children, some of whom I'm sure you will meet later on. Together, they had to come and create a family portrait. They had to negotiate what to include and what to leave out.